If you spot a leak under your BMW and you find the lower oil pan is leaking, you are in luck. If the leak is from the upper oil pan, you have a decent sized job ahead of you. Not impossible, but a lot more work. We're going to go over that here. Please also note this video is not applicable to V8 M5s. To access your oil pan, you're going to need to jack up the front end and remove the lower engine splash shield. Please follow the links provided at the end of this video for additional assistance with that task. Let's start with the lower engine oil pan on the V8. Begin by removing the 17mm plug near the center of the lower pan to drain your engine oil. The longer you can let it drain, the less of a mess when you take off the lower and upper oil pans. Unplug the oil level sending unit from the harness of the car, or you can remove it from the pan, which is what we have chosen to do here. Remove the 25 10mm fasteners, green arrows, that hold the lower oil pan on. Here we have removed the pan to give you a better picture of the fasteners that need to be removed. You may still have a tight seal between the lower oil pan gasket and the upper oil pan. You can use a prying tool to lever off the lower pan from the upper pan, but be careful not to bend the mating surface of the lower pan. Clean the gasket surface of excessive sealant on the lower pan. Then clean the gasket surface of excessive sealant on the upper oil pan mating surface to the lower pan. If you are only replacing the lower pan gasket, then installation is the reverse of removal. And don't forget to fill your engine with oil. To access and remove the upper oil pan, you will need to support the engine and drop the subframe. You can use an engine support beam across the top of the engine compartment. Seeing as how you're probably a DIYer, you can perform this job by supporting the bell housing of the transmission to support the engine and lower the subframe for access to the oil pan. This is the procedure we will follow. Use a block of wood and a jack to support the transmission bell housing. This will hold the engine in place. Remove the two 16mm fasteners that hold the engine motor mount bracket to the motor mount. Here's the left side as pictured, but you will remove the right side as well. On the left side of the oil pan underneath the engine compartment, remove the 10mm fastener, green arrow, that holds the transmission cooler lines to a bracket on the side of the oil pan. You do not have to remove this bracket because it will come loose when removing the oil pan, but it will get in your way when you try to pull the oil pan down. On the right side of the oil pan underneath the engine, remove the battery cable from the spring clip bracket. Here the starter is removed for photographic purposes only. You do not have to remove the starter, but it does make it easier. If you would like to do that, please follow the link provided at the end of this video for additional assistance with that task. Remove the two 18mm subframe mounting bolts, green arrows, and then loosen the two middle 18mm subframe mounting bolts, yellow arrow, and loosen the two rear 18mm bolts, red arrows. Remove the 9 upper oil pan mounting fasteners, green arrows, from the inside of the lower oil pan opening. Remove the 3 10mm oil pump cover mounting fasteners, green arrows, from the opening in the upper oil pan. Remove the 16mm oil pump chain gear fastener, green arrow, and the 3 13mm mounting fasteners, yellow arrows. The third mounting screw is not pictured since it's on the back of the oil pump. Remove the rear fastener, green arrow, from behind the oil pump and pull downward on the oil pump to separate it from the engine. Start to remove the oil pan mounting fasteners, green arrow, in the lower oil pan opening and along the sides of the oil pan. Here only one fastener is shown. Here is a picture of the oil pan removed from the engine. Locate all of the fasteners that you have not already removed, green arrows, along the side of the oil pan. The 4 at the rear of the oil pan will be covered in the next picture. Remove the 4 10mm fasteners recessed in the transmission bell housing, green arrows. Looking at the back of the transmission bell housing, remove the 4 T10 torque fasteners, green arrows that pass through the transmission bell housing and mount the oil pan. One fastener is hidden by the transmission cooler lines, yellow arrow. Lever down on a corner of the oil pan to break the seal from the engine block if you need to, and make sure you have all 28 fasteners removed before you do this. Clean the gasket surface on the oil pan itself before installing a new gasket. Clean the gasket surface with a degreasing solvent to make sure there is no oil, preventing a good seal on the upper oil pan gasket. Installation is the reverse of removal, and do not forget to refill your engine with oil. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and check out another video in this series.